we had a flat earther in here, and he said the Earth's flat and there's a dome over it. Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson says that when he's arguing with someone, he says that if he asks them, is there anything I could say to you that would change your perspective? And if they say no, he don't bother arguing anymore. Like if he went evidence, photographs from space, mathematical theories, he don't bother. Now, what do you think about flat earthers? Why would a theory of that nature emerge at this time?
I have absolutely no idea, because it is a ridiculous idea. There's no doubt about it. It's complete nonsense. So I think you can't really understand it. You can't say, why would somebody think the Earth is flat? It's a deeper issue that there's something else going on in their mind.
It can't just be it looks flat. It looks flat when you walk on it.
It doesn't, though, because honestly, my 8-year-old, I don't know why he started talking about this the other day, but he said, why don't they watch a ship sail over the horizon? And you go, yeah, that's an 8-year-old to just tell you the answer. Watch a ship sail. You'll see it go, and you'll see the mast go slowly and slowly, and it goes away. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else.
That'd be the end of it.
That was an unprompted suggestion about what they might do to disabuse themselves of the ridiculous notion.
Ships do not disappear over the horizon, but rather they disappear into the horizon, with the vanishing point of perspective. The argument of ships going over the curve can be easily debunked by using telescopes, binoculars, and good zoom cameras to bring ships back into view of the observer. No matter how good the zoom is on the camera, ships will never be able to be brought back into view if they went over the curve. This is proof that the ship only appeared to disappear because of vision and perspective, not the curve.
So the Bolivian salt flats. This is quite beautiful, folks. Right? If you ever, make up a bucket list, I'm going to tell you what, this is going to be high on the list. So, according to the heliocentric sun-worshipping spinning ball religion, every point along a tangent in every direction from your feet drops. That is, vertical drop away from you at 8 inches per mile squared. You all know this. From Borsa et al., Topography of the Salar. The Salar del Uyuni, I know I'm screwing that up, in the Bolivian Andes is the largest salt flat on Earth, exhibiting less than 1 meter of vertical relief over an area of 9,000 square kilometers. Folks, this is a geometrical flat plane. You can have a myriad of topographical features on a sphere. Mountains, ridges, saddles, spurs, depressions. You know what you can't have? You can't have a geometrical flat plane. It's a contradiction. And this one is over 9,000 square kilometers. Therefore, how can you stage 5 cling with a kung fu death grip to this fairy tale religion that has one of its foundational tenets, vertical drop, and yet at the same time have a flat plane with less than 1 meter vertical drop? You can't have it. Over the north and south limit, let's take a look at this. Let's open this up. They got a picture of the Solar here, figure 6. It gives a distance of going north and south in the Solar and how far it is. Let's roll on down here. So figure 6, where are you? There she is. Okay. As you can see here, the distance between alpha and alpha prime is 100 kilometers, right? It's over. So 100 kilometers. Put that in your calculator. What are you going to get? So for the spinning ball, 100 kilometers or 62 miles, the vertical drop is 781 meters. That's what you should have, right? Slam dunk. The Bolivian salt flats, 100 kilometers. How much vertical drop? It's less than 1 meter. Where's the 780 meters? Where'd that go? I don't know where it is. Somebody needs to show it, or they're not on a spinning ball. Next, the Sea Sparrow, the evolved Sea Sparrow missile. One of my favorites. The Block 1. Take a look at this picture, folks. It's a pretty good picture. I want you to notice a couple things. Number one, you see this contraption right here? This is the target illumination radar. Number one. And number two, in my calculations below, I used 80 feet above sea level. Now, I don't know, but that doesn't look like 80 feet to me. 30 feet at best, or 40 feet. It's not 80. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt there. So the general characteristics of the ESSM Block 1. Primary function, surface to air, and what? Surface to surface radar guided missile. The range is more than 35 miles. It's much more than this, but that's all they give you. The rest is classified, but it's at least that. The missile receives a reflected signal from a target that's being illuminated with an RF pencil beam that's transmitted by the fire control radar. That fire control radar is what I just identified above, the target illumination radar right here. It's on a standoff platform. Such systems require that the platform maintain line of sight. Line of sight. I'm sure all you folks got it now. It needs line of sight to engage those targets. This is slam dunk. So the target is illuminated with a 2-degree RF pencil beam, which has to be maintained, painted on the target until detonation. At a more than generous 80 feet elevation above sea level, which it's not, give you the benefit of the doubt, even then it's a train wreck. This is the target illumination radar height. The target should be hidden behind 385 feet of curvature.
Sorry to interrupt, John.
Folks, RF,
can you go through that whole sentence again? Because that's one of my favourite flat Earth proofs.
With this one right here?
Yeah, the target is illuminate. You've got it.
Okay. Yep. The target, it must be illuminated by a 2-degree RF pencil beam, which has to be maintained or painted on the target until detonation. At a more than generous 80 feet above sea level, that's the target illumination or radar height. I just showed you that above. The target should be hidden behind 385 feet of curvature. It's over right here. So what they have to do, they have to explain how you can have line of sight 35 miles away on a spinning ball and show how a 2-degree RF pencil beam can penetrate 385 feet or 117 meters of target hidden night through a wall of water 24 miles in length. Ain't going to happen. Just doesn't do it.
Yeah, we know this from
So
the
the
debates. This is just like I say, it's just one of my favourite things. It's worth just pausing on it for a moment, because we know from the Isle of Man that as soon as you get beyond a certain distance, it's all refraction.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So they're not firing at refracted images. Let me assure you. So in summary with this, the Sea Sparrow's max effective range is greater than 35 miles. Surface targets are engaged by the Sea Sparrow. To engage the target, it must be illuminated by the RF, the 2-degree RF pencil beam. Therefore, it must have line of sight. The target illumination radar must be on the same ship as the missile. And I'm going to get to that here in a second below. Hold on. Because that's one of the main comebacks to this. We're going to pummel it here in a second. So conclusion, either the Sea Sparrow missile, the Block 1 exists, or the spinning ball religion exists. Both can't be true. The end. So, like I said, the main comebacks to this argument is they say, well, you can have people on different ships or different, places. The ship can be 35 miles away, but the target illumination radar could be 3 miles away. Nope. Listen. From Raytheon, unlike the RIM-7 Sea Sparrow missile and ESSM Block 1, Block 2's active seeker will support terminal engagement without the launch ship's target illumination radars. That means the Block 1 must have the target illumination radars on the ship. Does everyone understand that? The evolved Sea Sparrow, see, the Block 2 is not a problem. The Block 2 is not a problem. Why? Because the Block 2 is not going to be ready until 2020 with 80 missiles going to the fleet. So the problem is for them, the Sea Sparrow Block 1 has been in full operational use since when? 2004, right? Therefore, please tell me how the ESSM Block 1 has been engaging surface-based targets at more than 35 miles with the target illumination radars on ships for the past 14 years. It's over right there, folks. The spinning ball religion is dead. The end.
There are interesting bits of physics that tell you that you live on a spinning planet. One of them is called the Coriolis force.
Oh, another one of my favorites. Of course, these four are all my favorites. In fact, I had these 4 arguments 3 days after I realized that the Earth was flat and all this was buffoonery. These 4 arguments, I may have tweaked them just a tad, but they're the same ones. So the Earth is not spinning. And here's a big one, too. Most people don't know what the Coriolis effect is, right? I think the latest one I got was toilet water spinning. I mean, this cracks me up. I can go into my bathroom, my sink and my toilet, same room, 3 feet apart from each other. My sink spins from left to right, facing the same direction. My toilet spins from right to left. Are they separated by an equator or something? See, it's ridiculous stuff like this. But let's get into it. Let's get to what is the Coriolis effect. For the Coriolis effect to exist, you must have, that is, the necessary condition, 2 differing frames of reference, 1 rotating coordinate system or non-inertial, the Earth, and 1 non-rotating coordinate system, inertial, the atmosphere, and everything in it. So, from Seagar, Douglas, Introduction to Ocean Sciences. This is college level textbook, folks. So, the Coriolis effect. When set in motion, freely moving objects, including air and water masses, move in straight paths while the Earth continues to what? Rotate independently. Because freely moving objects are not carried with the Earth as it rotates, they are subject to an apparent deflection. Very important point right there. Apparent deflection, called the Coriolis effect. To an observer rotating with the Earth, freely moving objects that travel in straight paths or straight lines appear to travel in curved paths on the Earth. Let's take a look at this. Let's go to the Elmer Fudd Wiki. This is good. This shows you exactly what this definition just said. It's a illustration of the exact definition. So the little red dot, let's look at the top one here. The little red dot is anything attached to the Earth rotating with the Earth, right? It's like a merry-go-round. You're spinning this way. However, if somebody throws a ball that's not attached to the merry-go-round, it goes straight while you turn. But it appears to you, take a look at the bottom illustration, it appears to you that it's curving. Well, that curving is just an appearance. That ball's going straight. That's why the Coriolis effect is an apparent deflection. It's not real. So, what's rotating? According to this definition above, what's rotating? Well, the Earth's rotating. What's moving in straight paths while the Earth is rotating independently? Well, air and cloud, the atmosphere, and everything or every freely moving object in it. That's bullets, planes, balloons, anything that's not attached to the Earth. Wow. If the Coriolis effect is true, and it is, you could do it on a merry-go-round with the ball I just showed you, then its necessary conditions, A and B, that afford its existence are therefore true, right? So the Earth's rotating, and the atmosphere and everything in it's not. That must be true for the Coriolis effect to exist. And it does exist. So if A and B, then a flight from North Carolina to Los Angeles nonstop, traveling at 500 miles per hour airspeed with both locations roughly the 35th degree north latitude, that is, they're both allegedly spinning at 860 miles an hour, should be approximately 1.5 hours. But it's 4.5 hours. The Charlotte to Los Angeles flight, airspeed's 500 miles an hour. You have to take the ground speed and the alleged rotation speed that's coming in your face and add them together. So that's 1,360 miles an hour. Just do the simple math. In other words, based on the law of non-contradiction, each, the Coriolis effect, and this is important, with respect to the Earth, and the Charlotte flight at 1.5 hours are either both true or both false. So the flight is most assuredly false. Therefore, the Earth is not spinning. The ball goes by way of the dodo bird, or you're a stationary ball geocentrist. It's just that simple, folks. There is no vacuum of space, folks. Number one, how do you have a gas pressure, that is atmospheric pressure, air pressure, without a container to begin with? When the pressure of a gas is the force that the gas exerts on the walls of its container. This is the definition. How can you have gas pressure without this, right? And we all know this by, just general experience. An incoherent third grader knows this. But I get fights to the death over it. The main comeback with this is, well, we have different pressure gradients. Well, who cares? You're starting off with a pressure gradient. Where'd you get gas pressure first? You have to answer that question first. So, I don't know. I can't wait to hear this yarn. You can't have gas pressure in an open system. And according to the fairy tale, this is the Earth is an open system. Married bachelors are more tenable. So basically, please explain how you can have a tire pressure without the tire, right? It's preposterous. It's lunacy. Number two, how can you have a vacuum outer space attached to a non-vacuum Earth without a physical barrier in the same system simultaneously, without bludgeoning to a bloody pulp the laws of entropy or the second law of thermodynamics. You can't do it. In other words, how are you still breathing and adhering to your fairy tale religion both at the same time? Then you need to define the law of non-contradiction. Then list each fairy tale associated with outer space that gets taken out back to the woodshed and bludgeoned senseless as a result of the fairy tale vacuum of space vaporizing. And this is kind of fun. How in the world did the Earth form an atmosphere in a vacuum from a Big Bang? You're not forming a vacuum. No way. Have you heard that nature abhors a vacuum by chance? Why is that? P.S. from Arthur Eddington, Nature of the Physical World, in 1930. If your theory is found to be against the second law of thermodynamics, I can give you no hope. There is nothing for your theory but to collapse in the deepest humiliation. The end. You live in a deeply humiliated fairy tale. Thanks for your ear. Have a nice day.
So this image, right, it's also, but NASA's shown us images like this. Well, there's problems, right? The size of the Earth is a problem, right? This is a huge problem. For them to take this photograph, they would have had to have landed on the side of the moon. Because why? The same side of the moon faces the Earth. So for you to see the horizon of the moon and the lamb on the moon, you'd be standing on the side of the moon. You see, this not, look at the horizon, man. It's cut off, it's truncated. This is fake. These pictures are not real. You just have to look and you can see they're not real. How can the Earth be there? Right?
There is absolutely no basis at all for thinking the world is flat.
Mission Control, I've got some news for you. It's going to shock you, so you better sit down. Listen very carefully. The Earth is flat, gentlemen. That's right, it's flat as a table.